Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. This is your Tuesday Best Bets episode in the National Basketball Association. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by Jay Money. You can find him on Twitter at JMoneyIsMoney. Been great for us this year, absolutely dominating in all sorts of spots here on the show, especially whenever he calls out as his, if you're watching the YouTube version or in the Action Network app, the video version, when he calls out Smack City. I got to tell you, as much as I want to be like, you're not that, you don't know, and these teams are going to dominate, he's been absolutely liquid fire in calling out the Smack City spots. Also joining me is analytics capper Albert Wynn. You can find him on the Monday morning weekend recap and best bets episode. He's the analytics capper. You can find him on Twitter at analytics capper. Gentlemen, glad to have you with us. Want to let you know that everything that you want to know about betting can be found in the award-winning Action Network app. It's the best way for you to track your picks. You get up to second information where the bets and money are coming in on. You can find all sorts of picks in there from experts and bettors, and you can track your picks. And our media center has this show, Big Bets on Campus, which is doing live shows for the Sweet 16 again. They were dominant last weekend. You got to get in on Big Bets on Campus. Check it out. Action Network app, download it right now. As always, we'll go around the slate. We'll list our best bets, then we'll come back and we'll do the cap. Jay, let's start with you. What's your best bet for the Tuesday slate?
I bet Celtics -4. I like it up to 5.5. So 5.5 is my cutoff for that game.
All right, Celtics taking on the Kings, who just lost in Utah. AC, what's your best bet for Tuesday?
I'm going to go for the OKC Thunder on the road +7. They're going to be playing the LA Clippers.
All right, I have 3. I am tailing and following and in agreement with AC on the Thunder +7. I've got the Spurs +11, and I've got the Nets +3, and on the money line +124. We'll hit those games here as we go along. Jay, let's start with you. So the Sacramento Kings drop their 4th game in 6 nights on the road to the Utah Jazz in altitude, half turnaround, fly all the way back home and face the Boston Celtics, who have a chance to regain the lead for the division, thanks to the Philadelphia 76ers loss to the Chicago Bulls on Monday night. Thank you, Sixers, for finally losing to the Bulls when I finally bet on you. Should have trusted the model, I see. I said that the model said that they like the Bulls, but I didn't listen. Jay, why do you like the Celtics in this spot, other than the obvious, the Kings are going to be tired as hell?
Yeah, I mean, that's the cap here, right? We know we've been waiting on the Kings to kind of falter. We know that they have a top tier offense. The defense, not so much, in my opinion. I still feel like us three could go out there and get some points on this Kings defense, in my opinion. But yeah, first off, I don't like the spot. 4-game road trip coming back home, right? So they were in Chicago, then Brooklyn, then Washington. Then you fly all the way across country. Only 1 day of rest between there as well. Have to face the Jazz coming off altitude. So 5th game in 6 nights, back to back, 3rd game 4 nights, the whole shebang in this one. This is a spot that 10 times out of 10, I'll take the favor in this one and live my results. So give me the Celtics in this one. They're also, I believe, 9-3, 8-3 against straight up this season with the rest advantages here. So coming off 2 days rest, I know that hadn't been the best spot for the Celtics, but coming off a game where they blew a 19-point lead to that same Utah Jazz team, I see a focus spot for the Celtics here. I know it's the last game of a 6-game road trip, but I do expect them to look at the Kings record and see where they're in the West and take this game seriously. So give me the Celtics in this one, 4.5. Like I say, my cutoff point is 5.5, but I do see a Smack City spot coming here for the Celtics.
So the Kings don't believe in rest management, so they are unlikely to sit guys on the second night of a back-to-back. They got a pretty young team overall. Like, they, as an organization, they don't really buy into the idea of resting guys on the second night of back-to-backs. So this will be like a fully healthy squad. I don't expect them to rest anybody. Do you?
I wouldn't be surprised. In all honesty, I'm not a fan of the resting players, but in this particular spot, in my opinion, I would rest some guys.
Yeah,
this is a horrible spot. These guys have been traveling all over the place, and it's the road trip coming back home. That's one of my spots that I've been cashing with a lot here lately. So I'm on the Celtics here.
Yeah, I can't get there because I think this Kings team. One of the problems that the Boston offense is starting to look like the Boston offense again, where you're just like, are you guys going to score at all? And if they have any sort of lull, like, I have absolute faith that the Kings defense can't stop anybody, and I have absolute faith that nobody can stop the Kings offense. I'm curious to see what happens here with Boston on this road trip. Are they going to have the stamina? Are they going to have the energy? I don't really know where Boston's at mentally right now. They haven't looked good for the last 15 games or so. They've started to struggle a little bit, so I'm not entirely confident where Boston's at. So I don't want any part of this game. It would have to be Celtics or nothing because of the rest spot. Like, I agree with you there. AC, you got any thoughts on this 5 and 7 spot for the Sacramento Kings?
First of all, I trust Jay Money. I think his plays are very sharp most of the time there. This is a really nice spot for Boston. Yes, it's the last game of a road trip. They have basically half their team out. Al Horford out, Smart's out, Pritchard, Robert Williams, Danilo still out. They're still 4.5-point favorites against. Yes, they did lose tonight, but they were a red hot Kings team. So this to me is a trust the favorite look here. I agree with Jay. I think there's going to be potentially a rest spot here too for the Kings. So I do see this line moving. If you like Boston, I would get on it right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I'd be a little bit surprised if they rested anybody, even on this spot. I just don't think they believe it's an organizational. I don't think that they think it's a thing. I mean, look, I'll just say this. I can't get this I definitely can't play it because I've got this power rated with the Kings at home here where they've been really good. Like, I've got this pick 'em. So I just can't get to this number. I don't mind the Celtics being favored with the rest, but I think 4.5 that feels like a lot of prior position on the Celtics on who they were and like a resistance to the Kings actually being good. I'm absolutely not fading Jay though. Jay's been dynamite whenever he calls out these Smack City spots. So I would advise our listeners to keep that in mind, that Jay's been red hot in these spots. AC, let's go to OKC taking on
Clippers.
The Clippers on Tuesday night. What's your cap for OKC +7?
Yeah, I think the Clippers are a solid team. But with that being said, I don't think they should be 6.5, 7-point favorites on anybody, even at home. They don't have enough offense to do that. And without Norman Powell coming off the bench, they lack a lot of 3-point shooting. This is a nice angle here that people forget. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander started his career with the Clippers.
Love it.
There's a little bit of motivation there every time he goes back to LA. OKC has covered this matchup against the spread 6 out of the last 7 games. And most of those times they're the inferior team. So I like this spot for OKC. They're going to be more motivated. They're also going to be hungrier. Both teams are coming in pretty hot, to be honest, like in pretty good form. Both teams, I think, are 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 overall. But I just like how this OKC Thunder team is. They're very scrappy. I don't really back them when they're a favorite, but when they're a dog, I'm all over them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly just a little like, what is this number? Like, I have no idea where this, typically I speak and I kind of give the market the respect I think it deserves. Like, these lines, Vegas, the casinos are nice for a reason, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, and the market will adjust these things. I get it. And we're recording this on Monday night, obviously. So the market hasn't really weighed in that much on the game yet. I just can't get 6.5. Like,
yeah.
OKC's been dynamite. Okay. Like, these two teams are separated by like a game in the Western Conference. What are we doing? Like, how on earth is this a 7-point spread at home for the Clippers? What have the Clippers done under any circumstances to warrant being 4 fine, right? You should be favored. You're at home. Sure. 7? Like, there are 7s in the market. 7? So yeah. This is, go ahead, Jay, or AZ.
No, I would say this. I mean, if you want to be a really good handicapper, you want to see both sides, right? So what is the path to the Clippers? They're going to dominate on the inside with Zubac and what's his face? Plumlee that they just traded for it. So they're going to dominate rebounding. So you're not going to get much second chance points for OKC. So they have to be shooting really well to cover this number. The Clippers are going to play defense, especially in the fourth quarter. They most likely will have Kawhi on Shai in that fourth quarter. So things like that. If you don't like the Thunder game, maybe look at them for that first half, things like that. But I'm just going to trust a read here. I think the Thunder are playing really good basketball. And again, Matt and I kind of alluded to this on a previous podcast, but they're not only going for a play-in spot, they might be a top 6 team if they win these type of games. And so I like it.
So the Clippers this season at home are 12-14 against the spread as a favorite. The Thunder on the road as a dog this season, 19-8-1 at 70%.
Yep.
And you're giving me 7. Yes, I will take OKC. I don't care if the Clippers destroy them. I will always be like, this was the right play. I feel very strongly about this play, AC. I like it. I'm with you 100% on this. Another one that I've got tonight for the slate. I like the San Antonio Spurs again. Been betting the Spurs consistently on this show and being like, here we go again. Bet the Spurs. I'm going back to it. Look, the Spurs are bad for sure. The Spurs, I think, reached a point, and there are a couple of teams that do this, where if you tank so badly, so much, that you're basically like, it doesn't matter what we do, we're going to finish top 3. We're going to have those flat lottery odds for the top spot. Then you can be like, fuck it, let's win some games. Like, you don't have to be like, we got to make sure that we lose this game. And this is definitely not a game that they have to lose to the Pelicans. Like, this isn't going to necessarily impact all that much. And the number, additionally, is ridiculous. The Pelicans, with how they've played for the last 2 months, are 11. Now, look, I don't have this as like a huge edge here. I've got it at 9.5, right? So like the Pelicans should be favored. The Pelicans have been good at home. The Pelicans are a better team. They should win this game. I do not think that the New Orleans Pelicans in their current form should be laying 11 points versus anybody. I don't think the Pelicans should be laying 11 points to the worst team in the league, which the San Antonio Spurs arguably are, if it's not Houston. And both of those teams are covering pretty well lately. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I want no parts of the Pelicans laying this number. So I'm right there with you on that. My only problem is I'll give you guys a little nugget with the Spurs. When they're resting guys, that's when they're trying to lose the game on purpose. When they're playing everyone, that's when it tells you that they're actually coming to play. So I agree that you don't want to lay this number with the Pelicans. My only problem is with the Spurs. Zach Collins out, rest. I mean, you're the worst team in the league. You're resting. I don't think it's the first to back to any day. You're resting them. Sochan out, Devin Vassell out, Trey Jones out, doubtful with as well, guys. So that's 4 guys that could be basically starting for the Spurs there. I just don't like these spots when they're basically tipping their hand that they don't want to win. But one key angle here, Devontae Graham going back to the team that just traded him. If Graham, he's questionable. If he does play, I'd look at some Devontae Graham props and 3-point props. That would be my look in this game.
I like that angle. I will say this. You can't move, we can't like be like, oh, the Spurs are resting Zach Collins, got to move that line a half point. Can't be, can't be like, oh no, Trey Jones is out, got to move that line. So like the line, I think I agree with you. They're trying to lose.
They don't have a center, man.
Can the Pelicans beat a team that's trying to lose by 11 points is the question. So
no, that's a good point. Now I was just saying when they rest Collins, when they kind of rest Collins and Sochan, then they don't have that's their way of losing. It's starting Memu Kelishvili at the center, and he's like a power forward at best. So 0 centers out there for the Spurs.
Last one I've got for the evening on the slate. I like the Nets +3 and on the money line +124 versus the Cavaliers. Look, this is not going to be, this is a half unit play. I'm not going to put the full on this because the Cavs are better. The Nets are worse. I kind of like the matchup here. The Cavs without Jared Allen just aren't necessarily like the same kind of team. Like they just haven't been the same team this season, and he's questionable in this game. Maybe he plays, but without Allen, I think you have to have Allen and Mobley for them to be full strength. If Allen plays, I'm not going to like this as much, but I'm willing to go ahead and go here. If you're facing the Cavs, how are you going to beat them? It's with offense. You need to be able to generate offense. How do you do that? You generate a lot of threes. Wings for days on the Nets. They can shoot well at home. It's enough for me to go ahead and get there. I can't get to this number. I just, even with the downgrade that I've given the Nets, which was significant after all of the trades, I can't get there. Like I cannot downgrade them enough with the current roster to get to this kind of a spot. So I can't anywhere near it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Cavs for a small play on the spread, and I'll put them on a half unit on the money line as well.
Matt, I have a question for you, Matt. Did Ben Simmons retire from basketball again? What's the latest on him?
I think that the heavy thing around the league is basically like it's not going to be with the Nets, and he's going to have to like figure out and really talk somebody into giving him another chance. Like I think if you're another GM and you're looking at this and you're trying to figure out, now I don't know what they're going to do with the contract, right? I don't know if they just buy him out or whatever, but I don't know that anybody's like, yeah, no, we would give him a shot. It would have to be on obviously a different contract. And like, he's going to have to rebuild his value if he's going to be a player in the NBA here in like 2 years.
Crazy.
All right, let's go wrap it up for best bets for a Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with another best bets episode. Make sure to follow Jay on Twitter at JMoneyIsMoney. You can follow Albert on Twitter at AnalyticsCapper. You can check out all my stuff in the Action Network app and follow me on Twitter at HB Basketball. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.